Hey, what's going on? Just a base black guy.
Hey,
MAGA,
what's going
MAGA,
on?
bro. MAGA. Hey,
Yeah.
Check out this dink black guy in a Trump hat.
traditional Christian values, that this was a majority Christian nation as we import people without our religious traditions. Um, and the free market's been a huge part of that. You have big corporations pushing for the immigration of low wage workers, even these H-1B visas
Right.
for Indians. I mean, are they Christians? I mean, these Hindus and these Muslims that do these IT jobs.
No, I've worked with many of them at Santander Bank, and they're great people. A lot of Indians,
Are they
unlike a lot of
Christian?
the.
I mean, how are we going to have a Christian nation when you have a population that isn't Christian?
Well, you can't force things on people, right? Part of
Well, you
Christianity.
could not bring them. You could just not bring them here.
So,
There's plenty of countries like in Iraq that are like 98% Muslim. Or
oh
like,
yeah,
right?
oh no doubt.
I mean, you can have Muslim countries, you can't have Christian countries.
Well, you could, and I mean you should, but in a
But
giant melting pot where you have a country that,
but why do we
even
have
though it
to
was
be a
formed,
giant melting pot?
sorry.
Why do we have to be a giant melting pot?
So I'm trying to see where you're going with this.
You want to bring. I assume you think the Democrat Party stands in opposition to the values that you hold dear. They vote 2-1, like these Hispanics, even, and those are those are like Catholics, dude. Those are Catholics. They vote 2-1 for the Democrat Party. Okay,
Well, that's
look at
why I was saying
Ocasio-Cortez.
she's not anything to do with conservatism, Christianity,
No, she does.
Catholicism.
The Democrats are the real
She
racists.
has something to do with the brown invasion.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, of course, but I'm just saying, like, I
When you
think,
say
like,
brown invasion, be
if you look
specific.
at the
You're not
last
talking
50
about skin
years,
color. Just for everybody out there, and I know you're, you know what I'm saying. All right, but yeah, um,
no, I mean, look, as a black guy, I think that like this is our country, whites and blacks. Like blacks didn't have a choice to come here. Clearly this is a white people's country. We have our own issue to work out between us. But all these other people trying to come in here, piggyback on the black civil rights movement and all this stuff. I mean, it's a joke. It's a
well, I'll
joke.
say this because you're saying a lot. I think you're on the same page with me on a lot of things. But here's the thing: I don't think this is a black and white country. I think it's a
No,
every
it's a
single color country.
it's a rainbow country, dude. Are there any countries in the world? Are there any countries in the world that are white countries? Do white people have white countries?
Well, who cares if there is?
Who cares if there
Yeah,
is?
I'm a white
Really?
guy.
Yeah, I see that. So you don't care. You don't care if countries have homelands. Like, is it a good thing? Do you think it's a positive that Israel exists as
Of
a
course,
Jewish homeland?
of course,
Of
I'm a big
course.
supporter of
What?
Israel.
Oh, was that the one written by Milo? Dude, Milo is so based.
So Jews can have a homeland, but white people or English people or Germans or
But that's an
Americans.
ethnic group of people versus white
Well,
is a color.
is American? Is there like an American ethnic group?
Well, eventually
Has
you
enough
kind of
time
become
gone on
American,
to
yeah.
be elevated to an ethnic group? Like, do Americans deserve a
I
homeland?
think there is. I would argue that there is.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I mean, do Americans deserve a homeland?
absolutely.
And do they have like the right to say, you know what? You can't come here. You're not American. Like, you're not part of this group. Just like the Jews say, you got to be a Jew to come here. Like, why do they have a right to do that?
Well, if that was the case, there wouldn't be so many Muslims living amongst the Jews.
Well, because they moved in and conquered it, and some people got caught behind the line, and they live like
But
second
they could
class
just kick them
citizens.
out if they really wanted just a Jewish only kind of country.
There's other forces at play.
They do have the IDF.
And they got look. Somebody's got to clean. Somebody's got to clean their hotel rooms. You know,
Oh, jeez.
somebody's got to clean up after them, and that's how it goes, right? I mean, that's why we need these people here. Like, they got to do the jobs we don't want to do, right? Black people don't
See,
do
I don't even
jobs.
buy into that. Let me put it this way,
Well, then why
right?
are they coming here, dude? Like, what's the justification? Like, why do people have a right to come here?
I
Why
think
can
anybody should
Americans?
have the right to come here as long as they are loyal to this country. They take an oath, right? And to be loyal. And part of that oath, if I'm not mistaken, I've actually posted about this recently, so it's kind of fresh in my memory. I believe it mentions God Does it not? And it's not talking about just any God you choose to believe in.
Does it mention Jesus?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The God referenced is Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. And you got to look again to those founding principles, right?
I don't know. I guess it's not
They do.
Hashem or Allah or, I mean,
No,
even
because
Hinduism technically is like monotheistic in a sense.
all those are false gods. But how are you supposed to reach people if you just say you can't come in?
Dude, you can read. Why do they get? Why, dude? You ever done missionary work? You ever done any kind of missionary work?
I'll tell you what I've done. I went to Puerto Rico and I did disaster relief. I sponsor a kid in Haiti for about 12 years now, or 9 years. 9 years.
That's pretty. That's pretty sweet. That's awesome.
I haven't.
No, look, I've actually gone. Look, I've been to Mexico a couple times, like built houses and stuff like that. You know, for instance, Mormons go around the world and have missions where they proselytize and stuff like that. And you can go meet people where they're at. You can help them build up their own community.
I agree.
Bringing them here
100% with that
is cruel to your own countrymen whose jobs are affected, whose rents go up because their communities are overrun. You know what I'm saying? Like your compassion for the outsider comes at the cost of cruelty towards your fellow countrymen.
Well, that's why you have to have
the priorities are backwards. The priorities are backwards, dude.
So I agree, but that doesn't mean you shut down everything. Doesn't mean you can't let people in. That's why Trump says it's a merit-based system, right? I don't necessarily agree that it should just be merit-based because he comes from a big corporate background where he makes a lot of money. I think there's a lot of people who are like low-income people that they might not be able to contribute monetarily, to make money, to do these wondrous things, but they're good people. That good fabric of their existence and their being is a contribution to your society if they're loyal to your country, if they're godly good people, if they're not trying to sabotage our political system, take over, infiltrate, think of us as infidels and want to go jihad on us, for example. You know what I mean? So I don't, and one other thing is the whole America first thing. As a Christian, I'm hesitant on that. Like, I understand what he's saying and where he's going with it, but what does the Bible say? It says first shall be last and last shall be first, So I think one of the things that has made us great is that we have put ourselves last. And that's what's propped us up because, as the Bible says, first shall be last and last shall be first.
What is the Democrat message? It's you fill in the blanks,
anti-American, anti-white.
Right, anti-white, anti-straight, right?
Anti-straight, anti-male.
Like they've divided up. Here, look, I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm not actually black. Okay, so as a white guy, I used to think a lot like you did until frankly, it was like the birth of my son. My son's 5 now, and my time horizon looked out, and I'm like, imagine they've managed to unite minorities against white people electorally. And in the culture, and it's one thing when they're 30-40% of the population, but like look out 30-40 years, 2050, we're going to be a minority. I mean, already the kids being born are majority.
But the problem
white.
Between you and me,
I don't want to be like South Africa. Okay.
But
it's not about me. It's not about me wanting to like I wouldn't have a problem with minorities if they didn't vote, if they didn't make it their mission to talk about white people. Like, that's what's going on, dude. Like, look at these Democrats. Like, look at their rhetoric. Look at the left's rhetoric. They're coming for you. Like, you may not care about race, but race cares about you, dude. And they're coming for you. And,
I know.
And your message is like, guys, like
they pretended I was racist.
Really say do you love Candace Owens? You like Candace Owens? You think Candace Owens is going to do a damn thing about the macro issue?
I think Candace Owens is a former Democrat, recently turned conservative. She got famous and made a name for herself, and now she's like all loyal. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Candace Owens. That's one thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll touch on the race issue that you brought up because that's a huge issue in America.
It is a huge issue. We can't ignore that issue.
No, but you have to start addressing it, right? You can't ignore any issue.
Well, that's what I've been getting at. It's like, what's the plan? What is the real plan? Because this is really like how the country's being carved up. You could say,
I can tell you what the plan is.
Whose fault it is and who started it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you want to know the plan?
What's the plan?
Here's the plan, okay? Stop focusing on skin color. If black people are acting like that, if you want to talk about black versus white, right? Then people need to stop talking skin color, and we need to start talking about people. What's wrong with America? What's wrong is that people lack a moral compass to know that it's not right to go after whitey. It's not right to go after a black person.
The only people that are going to listen to you are white people, dude. The black people are going to talk about it. They're going to motivate themselves along those lines. Like, dude, we've been talking like this as Republicans for 50 years. This is where like the conservative movement has conserved nothing. You know, I take exception with you say we got to where we are by putting ourselves last. And this is a total retconning of history. I mean, look, the last 50 years since the 1960s have definitely been like that. And we have seen the destruction of our culture. Us putting ourselves last has got us to where we are today, and only, you know, in a very short amount of time.
Well, you could say that our culture has gone downhill, no doubt. But
yeah, we could wind it all the way back, but it has really it really hit a tipping point in the 60s. But I got a question, like, what is your plan to convince the left to stop engaging in identity politics? What's your plan?
Well, the first thing
to allow them to import more to bolster their numbers, like what's the plan? Like, if you're just not, you go out and you prove how non-racist you are, that they're going to stop it. Like, we've been trying that. It has gotten us deeper and deeper in the hole. It hasn't
right.
worked.
So why don't we stop trying to prove that we're not racist and just not be racist, and then start doing things that...
And then I explained to the lady that the Democrats are the real racists.
So you're saying we are? So has the Republican Party been racist? Is that actually they haven't been sufficiently non-racist? Is that the argument?
No. My argument.
Well, then what do you say? We should actually stop saying it and actually be non-racist? Like, what do you mean? Or is Paul Ryan a racist?
I'm saying stop caring about trying to prove to them that we're not what we already know we're not, and we never have been.
I'm at the point where, like, I get angry when, like, I see that anti-white narrative, when I see accusations.
Are you a white nationalist like the media portrays? Are you one of those few? Are you one of those, like, white supremacists? You're not.
You can just keep your mouth shut. I don't talk to racists.
Let me say one thing that might rest a couple people's minds at ease. Everything that the liberals touch backfires. They're failures. They try really hard to succeed.
Dude, what are you talking about? Their agenda has been, like, tell me what aspect
Who just won the presidential election
to push forward.
Who just won the presidential election?
That's one dude.
Who runs the Senate?
That's a blip on the trend.
Who runs the Supreme Court?
Check the trend line. Do we control it?
They just took the House. Just barely. They just did. We had that too before.
As Justice Roberts shifts to the left. And dude, here's the thing about
I've noticed that
majority. Here's the thing about the Republican majority. They might have 53 people with R's next to their name, but they can't get 51 people to agree on any one issue, because you got Susan Collins.
That's a good point.
Susan Collins, so on and so forth. They don't have a working majority on any issue other than neoconservative wars. You know, like, they'll manage to vote in overwhelming numbers to go intervene in Venezuela. Trust me. That's about the only thing they can agree on. Okay?
Well, I hear you. Okay.
So like, you know, what do we control? Let's be real.
If there's a president who has, if there's a president in recent history who hasn't been neutered, it's got to be Trump.
Well, and that's what's so depressing, dude. This is the best we've had. This is the best we got. And look how ineffective it's been.
Dude, I think we killed Arthur Donald.
Oh God, what happened?
Well, I just gave him a few red pills.
Well, how many red pills is a few?
All of them?
Oh my God, you can't just give someone all the red pills at once. It's never been attempted before.